Welcome, welcome, welcome to your first lesson for Algebra 1. I hope that you guys are ready to start learning this summer. Maybe some of you are excited, maybe you are not, but in either case, I think you're going to get a lot out of this. I really and truly do, okay? We're going to start with order of operations, and another thing that y'all might know this as is PEMDAS. Pemdas. And I know you've done this before. In fact, this video might be the easiest one that you do all summer, and that's okay. It's the first week. You want it to kind of be easy, right? But I beg you to still watch the video, okay? I sometimes have tricks or different ways of explaining things, and I'd really like you to get to see another perspective on it. And also, just as a refresher, right? But this stuff is important. So the idea is like, why are we doing this again, lady? We know how to do it. Well, you may think you know how to do it, but I'm going to throw a couple things at you that maybe you haven't seen before. And in algebra, this is really, really critical because if you're not sure what algebra is about, the idea is instead of numbers, you will have letters or variables. And for most of the year, it's figuring out the thing or the number that is supposed to be in the place of the variable. And order of operations is used almost on a daily basis, and not even necessarily like you saw it in middle school, but sometimes just to go backwards and to solve a problem. And instead of doing PEMDAS, you'll do sad meep or whatever that would be. Sometimes you have to work backwards. So today though we're going to focus on PEMDAS and going forward, and hopefully you remember what everything stands for. The P would be for parentheses, and the E would be for exponents, and the M and the D would be your multiplication and division. So now I'm going to get lazy and start abbreviations. I'll just say divide, multiply, divide, and then A and S for addition and subtraction, or add, subtract. Okay, and you probably learned an acronym, or this is an acronym, and you probably learned a little saying to help you remember it. I always learned, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Well, nobody's named Sally anymore, so maybe we call it Sarah. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sarah. I don't know. Say whatever you want. You can make up your own sentence too. Anything that's going to help you remember this order, okay? And so let's talk about things to keep in mind. See what we got here. Okay, cool. The first thing is ways to represent multiplication. I'm going to tell you right now, if I could meet every middle school teacher that still writes an X for multiplication, I would slap them in the face. I'm not even kidding. I hate this. You're in algebra, and in algebra, an X is an unknown. It's a variable. It's the thing we're going to solve for. So gone are the days of this, okay? You have two choices. You can either use parentheses, and this parentheses where each of them is in their own set, that is multiplication, or you can do the dot. And this is what I use most of the time. Just 2 times 3 equals 6. We're just doing a dot for multiplication right here. But please don't write the X. And even in tutorials, I'm going to give you a hard time if I see you doing that. Okay? Let's not be that person. Okay? All right. Now, MD or DM, DA or AD. Okay, what is this all about? Well, multiplication, division, or addition and subtraction, that should be an S for subtraction. Silly me. Please change that on your sheet. Haha. Oops. Well, now I've just really messed it up. Okay. There it is. Okay, so that should have said SA or AS. Please change it. The idea here is this is the middle of PEMDAS. These can be done in either order, okay? So either order is okay. Meaning that if you see multiplication, like let's say you see like 2 times 3 divided by, 4 or something like that. Okay, if you see this, you're supposed to be doing multiplication, division, or division, multiplication. I would do this left to right. So I'd go ahead and group these first, then divide by the 4, okay? And I think it's important to do that because, if you, I don't want you to see something like 10 divided by 5 and then times 3. Please don't think you have to do, and there I did the times that I told you not to do. See, I'm hypocritical too. All right, let's change that. There it is. Okay. Let's put a dot there. Okay, cool. I don't want you to see this and think, oh, I have to do the times first and then I can do the divide. Oh, no, no. Just because it's PEMDAS, it doesn't matter that you do division first or multiplication first. So go left to right, do this part, then do this part. So we would do 2 times 3 equals 6. Okay, that would be the order to do that in. Same thing with addition and subtraction. Read it left to right and do it in the order that you see it. All right, now, absolute value. I've worked with a lot of students who don't know what that is. Okay, absolute value, by definition, means your distance from 0. Distance from 0. And so on a number line, let's say that there's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if I were to ask you for the absolute value of the number 3, and the way that that would be written is like this, the absolute value of 3. This is literally asking you how far away is 3 from 0. So the answer would just be 3. But if I had taken those same bars, which means absolute value, those same bars, and I put a negative 3 in there, I'm asking you how far away from 0 is negative 3. And even though it's over in negative land, 1, 2, 3, you're still 3 away from 0. So the answer would come out positive. So some of you either had a teacher or you will have a teacher that's going to say, oh, absolute value just means it's always positive. That is not what absolute value means. Absolute value means it is your distance from 0. Now, is that distance always positive? Yes, I guess it is, but I want you to know the actual definition for absolute value because it's cool. All right, so that being said, what other kinds of things should we work on? It looks like we're going to start with some algebra. Okay, I could give you a bunch of problems to practice, but you've already done them. I mean, you're going to be good at those. Those are the first few problems on your practice assignment. But I want to show you how to do something like this. This is why it's called algebra. You're going to be given an expression. And it's called an expression because there's no equal sign, okay? If it had an equal sign, it'd be called an equation. So you're going to be given an expression. And the idea is to get an answer or a numerical value from this. So you've got A's, B's, and C's. You've got a bunch of variables is what they're called, but we need a number answer. And so all you have to do, it's kind of intuitive. Some of you probably already know. You're just going to take these values and fill them in and then see what happens, okay? So I'm going to recopy everything and just replace the letters with the numbers, right? So A is 3. B is 2 minus, okay, C is negative 1, and it's got a squared on it. Now, notice I snuck that negative 1 inside of a set of parentheses. Okay, that's actually very important. I know there's no parentheses there, but anytime you are inserting a negative value, please put parentheses around it. So, if negative, put your own parentheses around it. Okay, and that's because there's a big difference between negative 1 times negative 1 or 1 times 1, you know. Actually, there's not a huge difference here, but I don't want you to get the signs mixed up right here in the middle, so just be super careful. And now we do PEMDAS. So P-E-M-D-A-S. Okay, so parentheses. Do I see parentheses that trap numbers together? Well, there's parentheses everywhere, but actually none of them are telling me to do some secret hidden operation. So these parentheses mean multiplication, okay? So I'm not really doing the P right there. Okay, is there an exponent? Well, yes, there is. So that needs to be the first thing I do. So negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. So I'm going to recopy this, bring down the minus, and this whole thing just turned into a positive 1. Okay, so I just handled that E right there. Okay, now is there multiplication? Why, yes, there is multiplication, and it is 3 times 2, so that'll be the next thing I do. 3 times 2 is 6, and I'll bring down that 1. So now I've handled that. There is no division. I'm sorry. Yeah, there is no division. There is no addition, but there is subtraction. 6 minus 1 is 5. And so that would be the order that we do it in. I like you to work vertically down the paper, as do most teachers. Show yourself the work. You don't need to be that lazy. You know, if it's super easy and you're like, I can do that in my head. Well, okay, good for you, but what if you jack it up doing it in your head? What if you mess up in step 1 and then the whole rest of your problem is jacked? So, you know, make sure that you're sure before you mental math the whole thing. Okay, kiddies, that's all that I have for week 1. Go ahead and try that practice assignment. After you do everything you can do, all right, just make sure whatever you can do, even if it's only 5 problems, do what you can do. Then watch the video that I sent called The Solutions, where I will work out every problem, and you can check to see how you did on the ones that you did. All right, enjoy.